Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
And this is Julie.
Welcome to a Blonde, a Brunette, and A Mic podcast. What is our podcast all about, you ask?
Well, we're two 50-something women with life experience and, plenty to say.
Which is exactly what we're going to do right now. So we're going to jump into it's kind of a big topic in a way. It can be jealousy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot wrapped up in that, don't you think?
Absolutely.
And in a lot of different facets, because it's not just, I think typically when we think of jealousy, it's in regard to in a relationship, a romantic relationship, and, people get jealous of their partners. Whatever it might be, whether it's founded or not founded. We'll talk about the underlying things of jealousy, but
also families. I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Siblings. And then also I would think like in your work environment too.
I mean, jealousy can be everywhere. It's just top of mind when you hear the word jealous. It's typically, jealous boyfriend or jealous girlfriend.
So when you hear that word, when you hear, he's so jealous, or, what comes to mind? Like what kind of behavior comes to mind for you, for someone who's behaving in a jealous way?
Off the top, you think of inappropriate, compulsive, reactive behavior when it comes to jealousy, controlling.
Controlling is the word I was thinking of.
Controlling, yeah.
With relationships in particular, like I've never really run across this per se myself, but where you are like a woman or a guy are not allowed to talk with like a girl at their work, or not allowed to talk with their ex who happens to be like a family member's friend, or, might run into functions at or something like that. They're not allowed to be around them. But I think a lot of that really directly corresponds with someone's, feelings of insecurity, because you're feeling insecure about something, and that's why you feel like you need to control or have those jealous tendencies. But I think just as important, and we're talking romantic relationships here for a minute, a lot of that is dependent upon how that person, your partner, shows up for you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because if they're not showing up for you in that way, or they are making you feel less than, not there, spending time and attention talking to someone else who maybe they're flirting, those sorts of things. I mean, of course, any person, man or woman, is going to be inclined to feel uncomfortable with that and maybe jealous of something like that. I would think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was talking with an older person, someone who's, much older than us, and we're just sharing thoughts and comments about when they were younger and when they had originally gotten married, and the kind of behavior that had been taking place with their husband. And it was, probably for all intents and purposes, looking at it from the outside, like someone who didn't really know, they might not even have noticed that things were happening. But they would go to these parties or functions, whatever, and the guy would be off basically flirting with other women, or dancing with other women, or, whatever, and leaving his wife to handle putting the food on the table or whatever. He was off doing his own thing. And it's like they were a married couple. So she was saying that she felt like she was invisible, like she wasn't even there. Like what would happen if she wasn't there? Like that's the kind of feeling she had. And was that something that she was insecure about because of the way she was, or is it because the behavior of this guy and how that was making her feel? Did she not feel safe?
Right.
And I mean, I've run across things like that before. Very subtle things. I can think of the person that I had spent, quite a couple, 3 years with. It was never direct. It was never overt. But you always there was always like this feeling that you had, like in the back of your mind. I'll give you a couple examples. Like, we had gone to Vegas, and it was this big elaborate dinner, and there was a woman who was hosting, I guess, at the restaurant or whatever. She was very pretty, and you could tell she totally had her eye on the person that I was with. You could just tell. I mean,
oh yeah, us women are pretty keen on that.
Oh yeah, and it's this really subtle undercurrent of something that you feel, and it's really hard to describe. But she was making additional efforts to come by the table or to bring, the signature drink, things like that. It was very, very obvious to me what was happening. And he was playing right into it, but, under the guise of, oh, she's just being friendly. Oh, there's nothing, I didn't really even say anything because I don't want to come across as being like insecure or like I'm the one that's got the problem. But it was definitely something where I felt uncomfortable. Like you knew that you have to kind of ask yourself, if I wasn't there, what would have happened,
Yeah.
So I believe that a lot of the jealousy or the behavior that leads to that level of insecurity comes from the people that are around you too. It's not just about you. It's about the people that you trust or the people that you're putting in those positions, and they're not really thinking about how you feel about things.
It's just kind of like watching parents parent in public. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen somebody be real extreme with their child? Like at the store or something. And then in your mind, you're like, I mean, if they're like that in public, what are they like at home when nobody's watching, right? So I was thinking of that as you were just telling that story. Like, okay, if he's going to be acting like this when I'm sitting right here with him,
right?
What's he acting a fool when I'm not here? Like, what,
But if you said anything, then it would be like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. It's kind of gaslighting a little bit. I mean, these are all things that I don't know why this one particular thing came up, because there's probably a few others that I could use as examples again. But that one I definitely remember. And he wasn't, quote, acting a fool, but my venturing guess is if I wasn't there, he'd be acting a fool.
That's
now knowing what I know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Or any other place for that matter. When people are charming or, handsome or, pretty or whatever, it's like they might be getting different level of attention on something, and they might not have the level of security to to not be a part of that.
Well, and flirting, we're going off on a little bit of a rabbit hole, but I think it's all relevant to the topic of jealousy. Because like, why would you be flirtatious like that in front of the person you care about?
Right.
And you shouldn't be like that when they're not with that. You know what I mean?
Under the guise of, I'm just being friendly. Oh, I'm da-da-da-da-da, or whatever. So I think when you start running across those situations where you see that with people, like the lady I was telling you about, who's an older lady now, and that she remembers that stuff so vividly that happened 40, 50 years ago, because obviously it made her feel like shit.
Yeah.
And she probably didn't address it because, back then they didn't really address that kind of stuff. Men are men, the Mad Men era kind of a thing. That boys will be boys and just kind of let it go. But to me, it strikes me as so disrespectful. It's
disrespectful. And I think too, it's all about how your partner, and this can go both ways, really, because there's plenty of women that are going to flirt in front of their man.
Oh, yeah.
So it all depends on the securities that you have with each other in that relationship.
Right.
For sure. Because I'm thinking about, my guy, he's social. He talks to people. He's very outgoing.
Yeah.
In social settings. And I think for an insecure woman, that could be taken the wrong way. But like, he never has to explain himself because I know that's who he is.
Right.
And so I'm sure there's plenty of lines with people though that are crossed in that way. And to your point, use it under the guise of whatever.
Yeah, I do think it's something that men and women both experience. I think that it comes out in different ways. And a lot of it has to do with, like you said, the level of security that person feels, whether it's from prior situations or if it's from their relationship that they have there. I think that can bring someone who's even really confident to a place where they're doubting themselves.
Sure.
But I kind of am at that place where I'm of the opinion that if that's how they're going to behave, then, more power to them. You do you.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. I don't really need to be around that.
Whoever you're spending time with in whatever kind of setting it is, it could be a friendship in a friendship, in a relationship. If they're not adding value to your life and if you don't feel good when you're around somebody, whatever the circumstances are, then you really should be questioning
whether you should be why you're around them to begin with.
Yeah. Because time is really valuable. That is something you never get back.
I know.
So how you spend it is super important and should be very intentional, and you should be very conscious about how you're feeling when you're spending that time with the people that you're spending time with.
Yeah. And that people have those positive intentions, and not trying to make you feel like crap.
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of times maybe when those things could be very deliberate too. To put you in your place, to 100%. Let you know that they are wanted, to let you know that other people find them interesting. So then you have to kind of go, okay, this isn't about me.
Right.
It's about them. So there's two different ways really to look at that, and if they feel that they need that much attention from someone else, then you have to kind of ask yourself, it's like, are they not getting enough attention? Or is it that they need so much that they're going to like smother you if you try to, you would, give them that much attention? As
we're talking about this and getting a little bit more in depth about different facets of it, it's just making me think about the root of what jealousy is. I know we were talking about the person being controlling.
Right.
So there's that, but then there's also, I think, insecurity.
Right.
When it comes to jealousy, then can be topped with narcissism in a relationship and using that to benefit. I mean, it can just like spiral out of
all
control.
Kinds of different things.
Yeah, for sure. You probably within families, relationships, all the things. I know we tend to like creep back to the relationship part when it comes to jealousy, because I think that's where a lot of it can manifest itself for people personally in their lives. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You came from a really large family. How do you recall having that jealous emotion with your siblings?
I don't recall feeling jealousy. I think there was some envy. Being the youngest, I always wanted what my sisters had, but I think it's different. I was never like jealous. No. So I can't say that I was.
I don't remember specifics, but there was kind of my mom or my sister, they made up this thing when I was little, and they would say jealous, Julee. Because I apparently was jealous of my sister, I'm assuming that's maybe what they were talking about. I mean, now, obviously, I kind of laugh about it now.
Jealous, Julee?
No, it was the way they said it. It was like, jealous, Julee. They would do it like that.
So extreme.
I know. It was
dramatic.
It was very dramatic. I was kind of probably maybe a little dramatic myself. But, I mean, I probably was to some degree because Angie, got a lot of attention. But she kind of deserved it because she was there all the time,
It probably manifests more when there's just two kids. You know what I mean? There was just...
my brother was quite a bit older. Yeah. So he didn't really play in that game.
When there's 8 of you, just kind of get lost in this giant shuffle,
I know. And you're the baby.
I always wanted to be like my sisters. Yeah. That's where I say, I don't even know that it was envy. Like I said a few minutes ago, I just always wanted to be like them. They always seemed to like do their hair and their makeup, just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't really...
I think it's really refreshing to be around people, or like in a dating capacity, for example, or friendship capacity, where there is none of that. Like they're confident enough in themselves. But on the flip side of that, it's like if someone's never shows any kind of question about who you're talking to, or who that person is, or who they are to you, kind of a thing, then you're kind of like, well, do they even care? So there's like a balance that you have to find. Yeah,
definitely a balance
between the two of them.
I think too, it's important for people like in a relationship to talk about those types of people, if there are people, that they have relationships with, whether it's friendships or whatever it is, that, and if that there's time being spent or whatever, coworkers, any kind of capacity, to be able to be open about that and not seem secretive, like you're trying to hide anything.
Well, I think because
they don't want to stir anything,
right.
It's just so tricky balance there.
Well, if you're that's the thing. I think people might hesitate to come out and say something because they don't want to be viewed as petty or as insecure or as controlling.
Sure.
But it might be their behavior, like say you're at a party kind of a thing and your girlfriend, wife is talking to someone and you come up and take her arm and to pull her away, or vice versa. A woman comes up and says, gets in the middle of something. Because you can see, honestly, I would say women are worse than men when it comes to this kind of thing, because we just have like radar. You could tell if someone doesn't have if a woman does not have a boundary and they're just kind of like, anything is up for grabs. Yeah. And so I've always kind of said, if they're up for grabs, if they are up for grabs and the person that I'm with bites, then I'm not going to fight for them. Now, there's a lot of women that would say, oh, I need to, say you need to step away from my man. You need to da da da. I don't think I'd ever really do that. I don't know if I would. I don't think I would, because it comes across like I'm being controlling or I'm being jealous.
Well, here's the thing. If
there's a balance,
if that person is biting in the first place,
right?
If he's biting, why am I fighting?
Exactly.
There we go.
I like that,
yeah,
Michelle.
If he's biting, why am I fighting?
But even if he's not biting is what I'm saying, because if he might be oblivious to what's going on. A lot of guys are very oblivious to, women coming on to them, women flirting with them. They don't have a flipping clue what's happening, and so they're just, not, I don't know, maybe I'm naive about that. I think people that are not really socially inclined might not have a clue.
I don't know about that.
No?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't, because if they're not socially inclined and, there's a woman that's kind of coming on to them.
Or being sassy with them or talking football with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I remember, this is a long time ago, but I was, I was so flippin' pregnant. I don't remember which kid it was, but I was really pregnant. This is a great story of jealousy, because so the Packers were playing in Seattle, and those Packer fans are die-hard fans, right? And of course, half my family was from Wisconsin, so naturally Packer fans. So all of these people came to visit from Wisconsin with their jerseys, and they were all going to the game, and they stayed at our house. A lot of them stayed at our house, and I don't even remember what this girl's name was, but there was this girl that came with one of the people, and I didn't know her and nobody knew her, right? I mean, we didn't know her, I should say, but she's welcome, of course.
Sure.
And total football fan, totally could keep up with the guys, totally was funny. She was cute. She was charming. And everybody was having so much fun with her. And I'm sitting here like a big fat pig, can barely get up the stairs at the I'm not kidding. I felt so gross and icky and ugly. And I'm like, who's this cute girl that they're all absolutely like having so much fun with? And she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I mean, isn't it funny how I remember that from like 20 some odd years ago? I mean, I remember that because it's like, I hope she never comes back. I don't remember your name, but you better damn well not come back.
That's so funny. Well, and I think too, like you're like a million pounds.
Yeah.
You're feeling that way anyways.
That was conservative.
Yeah. Puffy, not cute. None of the things.
You know where to put your feet up.
So little Miss Sunshine there doing all the entertaining.
Tiny little thing, with her tiny little cute jeans and her tiny little, I'm like, bitch, go have a beer and a burger. And
a hot dog.
And a hot dog. And a bratwurst. But I mean, it's silly because it's like she didn't do anything wrong. And it's like, and my husband was not being any more or less nice to her than any of the other guys, but she was the only other girl besides me. And here I am, little Miss Sunshine pregnant girl who can bear, like I said, I think I was probably like 8 months pregnant.
And that's a woman just being, and in general, I think you would probably agree, women can tend to be that way sometimes, even when there's no threat of, like flirting with my man, just like that situation, so, and women can be like, where's this little Miss Sunshine? What is she doing? And just because the attention and everything else. And
hopefully she has chives in her teeth when she's laughing, Nah, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I'm not really kidding. I was really hoping she ended up with a bratwurst in her tooth. No,
or spit when she laughed or something.
I am not that, but I'm not that girl as a general rule. You would never see me
wish ill will on somebody.
Never. But again, this is a long time ago. Of course, this is like
funny.
There's probably more stories that are more recent that I can think of. But yeah, I mean, I've seen women just say, you know what, you just like, stay away from my man. Not to me, but just, it's like, I see
Head
you.
bobs,
I
going
see
back
you.
and forth.
Or they, that kind of a thing. And it's like, oh, those are fighting words. It's like, you start getting in there and some hair pulling's going to happen, So anyway, so jealousy is, it can be a very, it can be a really rough thing for people to deal with, especially if you as an individual are in, let's just say relationship again, in a relationship, and you're constantly feeling like you have to monitor or be careful about who you talk to, who you say hello to, how you talk to someone on the phone. If you are going out with your friends and someone shows up,
that would be exhausting.
I know. I think it really would be.
And especially for somebody that is just living their life and being who they are. And, if you have a partner that is constantly doing that checkup, or can you imagine looking through your phone, calling you all the time, seeing who you're with, what are you doing, blah, 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 blah.
No, thank you.
I mean, that would be, then you're going to start probably making up stories to avoid all the things. And then that just compounds into something bigger.
Turns you into a liar.
Which is terrible.
Yeah.
So if you can't just be who you are and be yourself, and
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if I was, you're in a relationship, so you can answer this question. If Rick was saying, give me your phone, I want to look in your phone.
Yeah.
Would you just look up and go, what the fuck? Why would you even say something like, why would you even ask me something like that? Did I do, is there something about my behavior, something about, any indication that I've given you that would make you feel like you don't trust me, that you have to look through my phone? Yeah. Not that I care. Right. You could have my password. I don't care. Yeah. I'm not doing anything wrong. Yeah. But if I have to look through somebody's phone, I am not with the right person. Right. If I have to go
100% agree.
Looking
through the phone, checking pockets, all the stuff.
No.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, but
ain't nobody got time for that bullshit.
If they're giving you an indication that there's something going on and your spidey senses are up, the spidey senses usually are correct.
Oh, yeah.
So
I remember that long time ago. An older, wiser woman said that to me.
Really?
Like, trust what you're to trust what your gut is telling you.
Your intuition.
Yeah. You trust your intuition.
Yeah.
It will not.
It will not disappoint you.
It will not disappoint.
It will not disappoint.
Though you might be disappointed. Yeah.
Well, I'd rather be disappointed earlier on than later. Personally, that's what I would rather do. I'd rather not have to go through that again, or go through that on a regular basis. That would be horrible. So anyway, we talked a little bit about like why people feel jealous, and it is a very painful thing, I think, and it could relate back to a lot of other circumstances where you've been hurt by somebody, and so you behave that way with a person who's being perfully honest with you.
I know, and it's like fuels bad behavior.
Exactly.
All around.
Yeah. So you have to ask yourself why. If you're out there and you're feeling that way, why are you behaving that way? You got to ask yourself, it's like, is there something about this circumstance that's triggering me to the point where I feel like I can't trust my person? Or is this about me not being able to trust because of the shit that I've been through?
That's so interesting. And it's very true. That's something I have learned through my life journey. You can't penalize, somebody new for somebody else's behavior,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, because that's something that that's yours, and to put that on somebody else, that's not fair, you know,
especially if you see a pattern in yourself and you're choosing people that make you feel that way.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's something to really think about, because you're choosing incorrectly if you're choosing people that are making you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it could not be anything more than what we've just been talking about, or it might be something even more blatantly obvious.
I think too, as we get older, we're more understanding of patterns and situations
True.
that we've been through. And so I'm just thinking about, again, with my current partner, you know, he always, it's something I'm super grateful for, because he always answers it never goes straight to voicemail. He always answers the phone or calls me back or he'll text me and let me know why he didn't pay. You know, it's just like this, there's always a response, which I'm thankful for, because previously in my life, that was it's triggering it can be triggering for me. Straight to voicemail, not answering the text message, not calling me back, or not even nothing, you know, no response. So there's a whole lot of dynamics surrounding that, which we don't need to get into. But because of that, that's why I say, you know, something like that could be brought into a new relationship. Right. You know,
and it could ruin it.
Right. And so I thankfully didn't have to deal with that. But, yeah, that's just like an example of something.
Yeah. Well, do you think that envy and jealousy are the same?
I think to a certain degree, it promotes or causes or brings up certain feelings that are similar.
Okay.
Jealous, because that's what earlier when you asked me about my sister, like, you know, in the family, and
you mentioned envy,
maybe envious, which I think, and I don't know. I know we kind of put some notes together in regard to jealousy, and I'm not sure what it said about that, but in my own mind, just thinking about it now, it seems to me that envy, I mean, it's not like it's a good thing, but it seems less harmful than jealousy.
Well, it's more kind of like you're looking at their house, or you're looking at their car, and you're like, oh, you're so lucky. I love that. I wish I had that.
Right.
That's very different than, in my opinion, you know, the whole jealousy thing. It's like when I've seen people, you know, I can think of things in the past where, like, I was wearing a really hot outfit, nice outfit for work or whatever, and you get the up and down look. And the up and down look is like this jealousy look, because at least that's what I remember thinking, because this person didn't work in an environment like that. She didn't get to wear cute clothes, and she was literally critiquing everything I wore every day. And I had some really, really cute clothes. I mean, it was a very prime time in my life. I can remember that. But I remember that feeling like I wanted to like see her. She was watching my kids. I wanted to see her before I changed, and then change and go to work, because I didn't feel like, I know. And now I never did that. But it's like I would literally walk in and I could see the whole up one side and down the other thing. And probably she's turning around and talking to her friend on the phone about that bitch, and look at all the nice clothes she's wearing. And I'm over here, blah, blah, blah. That's how I felt. Yeah. Now, whether that was true or not, I don't know. But I have a feeling it was, because I heard her say things like that about other people. So,
I know, right?
Yeah,
There's less a little telling.
Probably where it came from. So anyway, how do you think that you can like get past some of these things, or kind of improve in these categories of jealousy, envy, whether it be with your, like I said, like with your siblings, or with, in a school environment, like the teacher's pet, you know, you're constantly having to, keep up with other people who get more attention. And so you feel like you're not getting the right amount of attention in a classroom, for example, or, at work, you know, someone else is, getting more projects. They're getting more, they're getting things handed to them because the boss likes them better. Are you jealous of that person?
I think it's going to trigger feelings of, or you're going to have to pay attention to how you are reacting to those situations, for sure. I'm just sitting here thinking of this, and it's like, you just have to stop looking at everybody else and look in the mirror, and what is it about you got to figure that out, right? What's going on within your own self in with all of this stuff that we just talked about. And what are you going to do to make yourself feel better about that? Not to be like that person, but how to be a better person yourself.
Right. So looking at this topic, I think one takeaway that I have, because we all have these feelings of, whether it be jealousy, whether it be enviousness, whether it feeling insecure in a situation, everybody does. If they don't, they're lying.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
But I think one important thing that is a takeaway for me on this is, if I see something like that coming up in whatever capacity, it's kind of a good checkpoint to say, why am I feeling this way? Is this something that I am doing because of things that have bothered me in the past? Or is this something that's bothering me because of the way, my family member, the person I care about or whatever is behaving that's making me feel this way? So you have to kind of ask yourself that, and then you decide how you want to behave or how you want to respond to something like that. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty open to a lot of things. I like friendships with exes, for example. I mean, I don't really care. That doesn't bother me,
right?
Because that person has had a friendship or had some sort of interaction in your person's life. Now, if that person still has feelings or feels some kind of way about your person, that's a different story.
Right.
But you're going to be able to tell by how they behave, right? And maybe that's an appropriate time to talk to your person and say, hey, they're very clearly have feelings for you and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or, I don't like how you are playing on the fact that she has feelings for you and you're flirting with her or whatever. I mean, whatever the case may be. But I think by not saying anything at all, it's almost condoning, whatever the behavior is.
True.
So.
And you're correct. Women, we can tell. We can tell when it's a thing.
When it's a thing.
So I guess on that note, don't be jealous.
Don't obsessively monitor your boyfriend's phone, Michelle. Like she ever would.
But it's kind of crazy. Our parents never had to deal with that. That's just
but they did it differently.
But it's a layer now that there's so many things that are such an extra layer added on that are contributing to these behaviors. Here I go nowadays.
Yeah. But you're right, really because we didn't have, again, a lot of the things we talk about, they kind of dial back, as I like to say, to social media and the interactions that people have.
Well, just the internet. Like, let me go watch some pornography right on my phone. I can do it anytime, anywhere.
Is that what you were doing?
Whenever I want.
When we were starting? I mean, she put it away. She put it away real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick. But do you know what I'm saying? It's a thing. So there's that too. That whole phone thing can be a jealousy thing for a lot of reasons. I
think it also it's a tool, that people will use to do the things that we're talking about. And again, it goes back to, how do you feel about it?
Talk to other, text it. Like, there's so much. There's that phone thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michelle decided that she wants to be Amish and live in the country in Pennsylvania and ride buggies.
Yeah.
And make her own butter.
Off grid, baby. I do that now.
I know. Exactly. You're already starting.
I make my own butter now.
She makes her own butter. What else do you do?
Bone broth.
The bone broth.
And from the bone broth, I save the tallow that separates, and I use that for cooking.
Look at her. She's like Little House on the Prairie.
Just call me Laura.
I'm so jealous.
Laura Ingalls Wilder.
I'm so envious. Anyway, I'm really not.
Yeah,
I'll just go to the store.
She is not. That's for sure.
But if she has some ghee, then I might let her make me some popcorn or something. Anyway, I thought this would be kind of a fun topic to talk. Well, not fun, but
interesting.
It is,
brings up a lot of thought process on different situations.
I think it just gets you to understand how you feel about certain things, and the bulk of our audience. There's men that are in our audience too, but the bulk of our audience are women.
Yeah.
And we are, every single woman that's listening to this knows exactly what we're talking about.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
I don't remember the rest.
Respect.
No, the rest of the song.
Oh.
No, I know. That's really what it comes down to. It's like self-respect and having the people that are in your life be respectful of you, and if there's something that's happening, make them aware of it, you know, and if they continue the behavior, then your problem's huger than you think.
I mean, and how you message it, that's going to be a huge thing. You know, if you come at it in a very combative, triggering way, you're probably going to get a combative triggering response from whoever it is. But if you're, heartfelt and just, are really sharing an emotion and how something might make you be feeling, it could be a different, you may get that, same type of response, heartfelt and, more open to that listening. So hopefully that's what it would be.
The key is to talk about it.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Don't start singing another song.
I won't.
She was about ready to. I could see her coming up with something. All right, people. I know you're all very jealous of the fact that we're sitting on the couch and have the fireplace going.
And that we're ending this now. Before
Michele starts saying something she's going to regret.
Yeah, I won't start singing. We got to go.
She does have a really good voice, though.
We are the world. Let's go.
We are the children. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Peace out.